Are your future finances weighing on you? In this video, we're going to guide you through how to plan for your future and get peace of mind knowing it's all under control. And at the end of this video, we're going to talk about what you should be doing right now to set yourself up for success. Okay, so number one, and this is something I recommend all of our clients to do right off the bat, is start tracking your money, your moolah, right? It's tracking your money. This is the bare bones absolute first step for anybody, no matter where you are in your situation. Start tracking your money. Because the truth is, if you're trying to set up yourself for success, you got to know where you are, right? If you're trying to get from point A to point Z, or Z, if you're international here, right? You're trying to get from A to Z, and you're trying to do that on a map. First, you got to know where point A is before you know what point Z is. You got to know both points. So start tracking your money. Start knowing where you are right now. How much are you spending each month? Is that what you want to be spending? Are you spending in areas that maybe is not good for you? How much income have you been receiving? Do you want that same kind of income coming in down the road? Those are the kind of things you got to understand. You got to really know what's going on with your money right now. If you start tracking that money, you can really start to know what to hit. Same, this goes for number two, which is your goals. What do you want, right? What are those goals? Now you can find really two numbers here. You can check for two numbers. One is, what is it required for you just to survive, right? You could just go for your bare bones expenses that you need to survive. I don't recommend that. I think that's a good goal to hit, but it's not the end goal. The end goal, we want to go beyond that to where you have freedom. You don't just want to sit on your front porch drinking lemonade, hoping for the future, but you can't afford to go see your grandkids. You hope they come visit you and you see them once every few years. And you're kind of depressed sitting there, but you can't really go anywhere to do anything. And maybe you go and buy your $5 a week of lottery tickets just to see if you win that $1, and that's your fun for the day. You know, that's not the kind of life you want to live. You want to have a life where you're able to be free to go see your family, your grandkids, or whomever you want to see. Or go do the things you want. Because like, I'm young, I have life, let's enjoy it, right? Set those goals, know what it is you want. The more clear you're on what you want, the easier it is to hit those goals. I love the quote by Mark Twain where he says, I can get people whatever they want in life. I just can't find anybody who knows what they want, right? Know what you want, know that end point that you're trying to get to, and then if you're tracking your money, you got the starting point. Now you can plan in between how to get there. That's the best way to do that. All right, now number three, the how-to. This is always the part people want to know about, right? If you got the first point A and point B, or point A to Z, if you got that figured out right now it's figuring out what do you need to reach those goals? What's the how? Where do we put our money? How do we save it? How do we invest it? What do we do? First and foremost, I recommend getting educated, which is probably why you're here right now, aren't you? You're trying to get educated. You're trying to figure out how to reach these goals. Best thing you can ever do. The thing is, how do you know which education's right? Because there are so many voices out there, so many people saying this is the way, that is the way. One thing I can tell you, if they're only telling you one way and one way only, it's probably because they're trying to sell you crap. Okay, that's the thing they're trying to sell you. If they're saying mutual funds is the way to do it, 401ks, IRAs, that's because they're selling you that crap. If someone's saying real estate's the only way to go, it's probably because they're selling you that crap. Especially if it's a specific type of real estate investing, it's because they're trying to sell you that crap. This is why we try to keep education open and talk about lots of different types of investment. But you need to be educated about what's available to you and what you can be comfortable with. The truth is that it's not about working harder, is it? And many of you will say it's about working smarter, and that's not true. It's not about working harder or smarter, it's about working right. It's about working the right way to get you from point A to point B as quickly and safely as possible. One thing I'd recommend is do not gamble your money away. Don't go for these high speculative returning possibility type of investments. Those are really not investments, those are gambles, right? That's like going to Vegas saying, all right, I've got $100,000, let's just lay it on all the chips on the table, let's start playing and see what happens. The truth is, at the end of the day, the house always wins. Unfortunately, the house is not you, okay? Usually when people try to take that gambler mentality to their life and to their goals and their investments, they usually lose. I even think this is true. I used to coach people how to trade stocks and options, right? How to trade in the stock markets. And I would tell them up front, I'd say, listen, guys, if you're doing this program, if you're getting educated, which is good, at least they're getting educated, but I said, the truth is you guys are gamblers because you have no control over these investments. You can't manipulate the stock to pay you. Now you can ride waves, but the truth is, it's not like if the stock's going the wrong direction, you can't say, hold on there, stop, I'm losing money, turn around, go up. You can't do that when you're gambling inside the stock market. That's why I say it's gambling. You can be an educated gambler, like many people in Vegas are, but you cannot just trust in gambling and taking high risks, because high risks do mean high losses as well, not high returns. So look for things that will actually allow you to do that. Now, one thing I'll say as a side note is learn how to manage your debt as well. Sometimes the one thing that will prevent you from getting your goals is if debt goes out of control. I don't believe in having lots of consumer debt. I don't think you should have lots of big credit card balances. If you do, pay them off so you get those sky miles or whatever you want to get, right? That's great. But don't have lots of debt that just keeps dragging you down and weighing you down, especially if it's all consumer based. I don't mind having a mortgage. I don't even mind occasionally having a car loan and things like that. But stay away from things that might drive up your consumer credit that will limit how much you have to be able to save and add to get you to your goals. That's the thing. The more you can add to it, the better it is. So learn how to manage it. Now, this kind of leads me to my final point, right? Is how can you really get there? And maybe are there ways to get there faster? I'll tie in debt, but debt's not the only way. You can use debt to leverage to make more money. But once again, two big warnings I'm going to give you here, okay? One is if you're a spender, you have somebody that naturally likes to spend and blow money, don't use debt at all. You will use it improperly and it will hurt you more than help you, okay? That's rule number one. Rule number two, if you're using debt, make sure you're using debt that has low interest, debt that actually allows you to have low payments if you're going to use that debt. Most of the debt that I like to use, if I'm going to use any, would be home equity. Right? Home equity is nice because banks like to lend on it and they'll give you longer terms, which means your payments are much less. The interest rate is not as important, although I do like lower interest rates and it usually is. Banks love to lend on things that have real assets, right? They will give you better interest rate for things that have real value. By the way, notice if you want to invest like a bank, because banks are really some of the best investors out there. If you want to invest like a bank, notice if you ever ask a bank for money to invest in the stock market, they'll say no. Why? Because they know that's stupid, right? They know it's dumb to put money in the stock market. You'll lose it. So no, they give you money for things that are real assets, things that have some real security behind them. So real estate's a great one. You know, I've had a client here recently that had about 200,000 equity he could pull out of his home. He's like, all right, I got 200,000, I can pull out. What do I do with it? So before he pulled it out, before he was having to pay on it, we said, let's see what you can do with it. Well, he took that money, instead of just gambling in the stock market, which I do not recommend, he instead used that to buy real estate. Because if you're gonna pull money out of equity of real estate, why not use that equity to go into equity of more real estate? Especially, most importantly, that real estate is profitable. It pays you more. So that 200,000 he was able to pull out, it cost him about $700 a month, but that money he was able to use was generating $1,700 a month. Well, what's the profit there? $1,000 a month he got for free. He was able to learn how to use his debt to invest, make an extra $1,000 a month that not only paid for his mortgage payment on that money, but also gave an extra $1,000 on top of it. So he paid his $700 plus got $1,000. That's smart use of money. That's what I recommend is how do you create passive income now with that money? Because really at the end of the day, we want you to get from point A to point B. Inflation is going crazy. It's so hard to plan for that anyways. Even if you set a goal, every 15 years, you got to double that and double and double. If you go 30 years out, you got to quadruple the goal that you have today. But if you can create passive income now, inflation is not as much of a concern because you know what you're making today. You know what inflation is right now, don't you? One example, I had a guy that he was trying to plan for the future. He was trying to get there. He had about $600,000 in his account. Well, that $600,000 we're able to turn into $60,000 or $5,000 a month of passive income, right? Get that money right now doing that. Now, normally $600,000 in the stock market would only generate maybe $18,000 that you're recommended to pull off based on financial advisors' recommendations. We didn't want $18,000 a year. We wanted $60,000 a year instead. That's what he's able to do, creating that passive income right now, which actually helped him get to those goals. We had another client actually living here in Utah. Husband and wife, their goals, they said, Chris, we're entrepreneurs. We like to homeschool. We want to get them to really work for us. So what do? We wanted that money to start working. So we actually had them sell off their house because they wanted to live the expat life, right? They wanted to live abroad, like in Costa Rica and Mexico and places like that. So I said, great. Well, you've got equity in your home. You got a little bit in savings. Let's take all of that, create passive income now so you can live abroad. And that's what we did. And within the next year, guess what they're doing? They moved to Cabo San Lucas. They're living there today. They're loving their lives, doing what they've always wanted to do, which is, of course, living abroad, homeschooling, giving their kids the real experience, living that life of freedom now. And by the way, just so you know, they keep growing their money. That money keeps growing because they still have income coming in that they can reinvest and make more with it, also adjusting for inflation. So guys, that's the key is create passive income today, hit your goals faster so you don't have to plan so much into the future. If you like this, be sure to check out our other video, how to achieve financial independence and retire early, just like that couple did in Mexico. Check it out.